Welcome, everyone, to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka The Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudowoodoo45.
I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, you are. So as we always do, we're going to kick things off heading over to Preston's comment corner and see what's going on over there.
We got a couple comments recently. One is from Death Sparrow on the finale part 3 of Prince of Persia. I played the ever-living spit out of these games. I wanted more of that cel-shaded one after these original titles. Did you guys ever play that one?
Yeah, that was just Prince of Persia, right? Like that was the redo they did.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, that game was my first ever platinum.
Oh, no shit.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
I don't think I ever played that one.
It's great. It's very good. The problem is, its main issue is that it's better than the other three Prince of Persias in every way. The only thing that it does is overstay its welcome by just a little bit. Like, by about the 2/3 mark, you've seen basically everything in the game, and then that final third is them just being like, we're just going to do it again. And you're like, you should just let the credits roll, actually. I'm good. This is perfect. And they're like, nah, we'll just keep it going for a couple hours. And you're like, I didn't need that.
That was PS3, wasn't it?
It was.
For that generation? Yeah, that was good. Man, just aside that ties back into our game there. I dropped my dogs off this morning at their yearly or their 6-month checkup, right? Like they go every 6 months to Banfield or whatever. So I'm going to pick them up in the afternoon. And I park my Jeep and 2 cars down, there's another Jeep, and I hear this music blaring. And I'm like, at first I thought it was somebody on the sidewalk of this little strip mall where the Banfield is. And I heard the speaker, and it was, I shit you not, Godsmack I Stand Alone.
There you go.
I was like, where is this coming from? And then I saw the Jeep, so I walk in, and I get the dogs. I'm like, they're bringing all the stuff out. I'm getting checked out. And as I'm getting checked out, this guy walks in who, our age, a little older, black jeans, black cutoff shirt with a bandana hanging out of his back pocket and a pocket chain. Blonde hair, and he just walked straight past me, straight into the back. So he was clearly like a nurse or something at this Banfield that was just rocking out during.
And now in that moment, do you have an inward moment where you sit there and go, I think I have to start bringing Bash and Poppy to a different Banfield. Like,
I don't know. I mean, hey man, whatever you enjoy on your break, I guess.
But now, aren't you concerned that your dogs are going to come home with an unhealthy obsession with Godsmack?
Possibly. Like Bash is going to come home with a bleach blonde goatee.
Yeah, and then a fucking Poppy will have a sun tattoo on one of her white spots.
Orange.
She'll roll over to rubber belly. Be like, where the hell did the sun tat? This
tribal sun.
Couple lip rings. That'll be fine.
Oh, fuck. It'll all be eyebrow rings. Every single one of them will be eyebrow rings.
It was just so funny the way the universe works because, I haven't heard that song in years until we played this game. So it's even funnier to then, hear it in the wild, in your real life while you're out and about.
So
it was
the last time I heard that song in the wild.
Yeah.
And this will be something I'm positive we've talked about this. I know I talked about it with Preston because we both live here, and I just couldn't believe it. And it was shortly before he had moved up here. So I sent him a photo being like, "Fucking
get ready.
Here you go, get ready." So, for those who don't know, there is a lot of that new metal, quote unquote, NU metal music has been adopted by a bunch of conservative chodes here in America. And they so them bands like Hell Yeah, all sorts of stuff like that, right? So of which certain they're all in that like Five Finger Death Punch, those fucking losers.
I was gonna say
Oh, yeah.
Five Finger Death Punch,
That was
but I
really
figured
good.
that might be a little too metal, like metal, but
No,
Nope.
that totally
Okay.
fits. It totally fits.
okay.
So they have all been adopted by those people, and that's just who their fan base is now. And that those bands either have to just deal with that or love it. I don't know. But in order to continue to make revenue as a band, they created a festival that allows all said individuals to show up into a single place and appreciate the musical stylings of these bands.
Was
And
Disturbed there too? Were there 10,000 fists in the air?
you know,
Like,
I don't know, but the reason I don't think so is because Disturbed, for all of their faults, I don't believe are
More alt rock than metal.
well, I just don't think that they fit personality wise. The members of that band do not fit
sure.
the same.
Okay.
Like when you think of like really think of put the image in your head of the members of Godsmack and Hell Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Disturbed isn't there. Like they don't carry
Sure.
themselves that way. They don't treat their fan base or talk about things that same way. But the best part about all of this is the name of this festival, which is just simply Hogfest.
That's horrible. Now, do they do Hogfest at the Harley Davidson concert arena?
The last time that I saw it was Hogfest was being held at the giant outdoor Harley Davidson thing. It hasn't been back since before, so it's been what? You and I lived here 3 years, press for almost 4. So it hasn't been back since right as we moved up here. So it's been a while.
That's funny.
But yeah, there is it's called Hogfest, and there's something about it that when you hear the name, you just go, "Yep, that fits perfectly for you people." It does. It really, really does.
Yeah, that's really funny.
So anyway, long story short, that was the last time I heard I Stand Alone, because as I was driving by and I went to go send Preston a photo, my window was down, and of course, who's playing I Stand Alone but
Sure. Of course.
but
Do you
Godsmack
think-
right in those moments.
Do you think Godsmack, like, they kind of start their set off with that song, and then like
No.
midway through they
No.
kind of forget that you've heard it, so they play it a second time?
That's the late half, like end of the show, kind of get them
Yeah.
riled up, get them happy at the
The
end.
thing is that Godsmack has been around long enough, I guess, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you are.
I Stand Alone was like their turning point in their career, because remember they had like 3 albums or something before that,
Right.
and this is when they were like the more accessible Godsmack.
Right now, I'm telling you, Damien right now is in his house shaking because he wants to be a part of this conversation so bad.
Right,
and
Damien. We'll talk about it next week.
He's tweaking, like scratching his chest and his neck, like let me
we should
on
have
to
a
this motherfucker.
side
And honestly,
story
he's
just
probably
about music and just bring him on. We should just have him on.
I know.
Like,
Well, he's probably screaming right now because the last time he was like, "You should have just called me the last time that you guys were asking these questions." I was like, "Dude, when we do this show, like we don't really, I don't think, like I just open my mouth, words come out, and then we turn off, and I go, see ya." And then when I listen back to it later, I'm like, "Oh, damn, we were really talking about crazy stuff." But, yeah. Anyway, they do, like, I think that they've been around long enough that they have enough songs that were radio hits to fill a set list now. So when you go see Godsmack, my assumption is that you are only hearing Godsmack bangers at that point.
Unless they have a new CD out, probably, yeah.
There's no way. When was their last? What do you guess their last
Hell,
album?
you have a
was?
browser.
I'm gonna bet
2019, 2018. I'm gonna guess that.
I'm gonna
before
bet it's
COVID.
20. I bet there was a 2023 album.
You are, and you would be right. Lighting
shit.
up
No
the
way,
sky was 2023.
Okay.
Jesus. Well, hey,
Love to be right.
long live Hogfest.
I hope Damien also doesn't think we're just shitting all over them, because, like, look,
He did think you were last time. He was furious with you.
I was, but let me justify this, right? I have a very similar upbringing to you guys, just in a different place. Like, I didn't grow up in Peoria, I grew up in West Virginia, but like we had X Fest. I remember one year at X Fest, the lineup was Typo Negative. I don't know if you remember the band called Raw, like RA,
Yeah.
just Raw was there. Godsmack was there. Edema was there. So like I get it. Like I've been part of it, which is also why I can shit on it because that was my upbringing. You know, I saw Stained, who was actually much better than any of them, along with Three Doors Down. Like that was a concert
They
that I
tend to
went
come
to,
together,
and the crazy thing is, at the time, Three Doors Down was the headliner of that concert too.
Imagine being Godsmack and then seeing your name underneath Three Doors Down and being like, "We wrote I Stand Alone, god damn it." Like,
I would love. I bet you Godsmack does not get the conversation they wish they had, and I would love for this conversation to pop up somehow in their zeitgeist.
Dude, it's probably not that hard. Like, be careful what you wish for.
Please, if anybody has any like 6 degrees of separation,
Dude, Damien
from people that
has
end
6
up-
degrees, I guarantee you, of separation. That does this guy get his concerts and stuff. He knows. He knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah, one of those people live in his hometown and are a lead singer of another band. So
two bands actually.
Exactly.
Mudvayne and Hell Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Damien and I what's funny enough is that out of all people, no, I guess Damien and I are tied. We both are exactly 1 degree of separation away from the lead singer of both Mudvayne and Hell Yeah. Through what's funny, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is that it started out as 2 different people that then we both met later because of each other. So now we both know at least 2 separate 1 degree people away from.
I've seen Mudvayne at one of those concerts in Huntington, which was very similar. Like, and I saw Mudvayne before they became as popular as they were ever going to become when they had the intro song for Ghost Ship.
You still believe the way you say it is like you still believe that that's their claim to fame. It's just not the case, but
Anyway,
I love that there's so many quotes too. Popular and intro song and Ghost Ship. Like the movie is fake, the intro song is fake, and they're not popular.
oh yeah, that intro as a child was a banger. If you go back and watch it today, it doesn't hold up as well.
You know, shockingly, and this will be the part that Damien wants to come from my throat on, is that shockingly, almost all new metal doesn't hold up today, despite what the algorithms on social media would tell you. And right now, I'm telling you, he's screaming because he has been so furious with the resurgence of Limp Bizkit, because and I'm telling you this as somebody who loves him dearly, he has been the staunchest defender of Limp Bizkit for as long as I've known him. And when people were like, when everybody, and I mean everybody, was shitting on Limp Bizkit, he was the only person who was like, "Nah, man, these songs still go hard, and they still get daily plays for me. Fuck you guys." Blah, blah, blah. Like he just wouldn't let it go.
So I went through not a weird period because it lasted like 2 days. Where a conversation was being had not long ago, and Disturbed came up in that conversation, and I was like, yeah, everybody's like making fun of, you know, that first album, like Down with the Sickness, because he sounds kind of goofy and whatnot doing the
You mean for
stuff.
Disturbed?
Yeah, like David Draymond,
okay.
like, and that's what like
yes,
normal people know about Disturbed is like Down with the Sickness, and I was like,
yep.
and I was like, you know, like, first of all, 10,000 Fists wasn't a terrible album. But there was the one, I think, before it, which was all red. It was all red, and it just had, like, their emblem on it, and I forget the name. And I remember when being a kid really enjoying that album. So after this conversation, I went back and I listened to it for like a day, and I was like, this is still hits, and I was like, and I've had enough of that, and moved on. So it wasn't like it lasted, like I said, like 2 days. It was not a big period.
Yeah, so the album that the album you're talking about is Believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one after that was 10,000 Fists. And then shortly after that was Indestructible.
I remember that. I did not listen to that one as much, but I had all. Look, if I just Google new metal bands just to get an idea of what's here, like from that category. I mean, this is like a ranking. I don't know what the ranking is for. It doesn't really matter. But like System of a Down, I had all of System of a Down albums.
See, here's the thing.
I've heard.
This
I've
is
heard.
why I
System is
fucking
not
hate
new
genres.
metal, yeah.
The thing that
Because
the
it doesn't-
reason I
it doesn't fit.
fucking hate genres is because they're like,
Doesn't
oh,
fit that.
System of a Down came out in early 2000s, new metal, and you're like, no,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
But like Deftones, I listened to. Disturbed, I
also
listened
not new
to.
metal.
Mudvayne, Papa Roach, but like you have on here, Korn.
Papa Roach is emo. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Korn is on this list. I never was a Korn fan. I'm sorry. Korn
I've enjoyed
sucks,
Korn
and
music.
they've always.
Okay. This is going to be the Slipknot conversation all over again, where you're wrong.
Okay.
And it's fine because you were like, My Chemical Romance is definitely more successful than Slipknot, even though there's just by no
I'm
measure
not. I'm not saying anybody. I'm not saying anybody's more successful or less successful. I just never prefer. Like, I think I was a little too young for the Freak on a Leash album when it came out, and like I just never could get into Korn. They've never done anything for me.
Look, I'm not.
Sorry.
This is not me writing for Korn. Like, I don't.
It sounds like it sounds like you're about to, which is also going to be. It's going to be a weird hill. It's going to be a weird hill to die on, but that's fine.
The same shit
fine.
where you were like,
No, go
fucking,
ahead.
you must be Slipknot's biggest fucking fan. I'm pretty sure you have his tattoo. No, it's not me writing for them, but
Do you have a Corey Taylor tattoo?
No, I don't even know if there is such a thing as a Corey Taylor tattoo. But I think that Korn is an example of a band that had the metal space in the palm of their hand, or like the new metal space in the palm of their hand. Like, you know, Woodstock 99, whatever, like their set was fucking crazy there. It was huge. Same thing with all those other bands that were there. And then, like, I don't think that I've seen, well, there's probably better examples, but Korn is a great example of somebody who just absolutely fumbled the bag harder than any, like so hard. Like, they were just like, yeah, anyway, one of our members is super religious now and doesn't want to do Korn, and now our vocalist likes to do dubstep.
And our vocalist has an alcohol problem, so
sure.
Was, you know,
and you're just like, man,
you want to know a bonkers story
way to
about
fuck
Korn?
up your own money. Like,
you want to know a bonkers story about Korn? Eminem is in a Korn music video, and on the set of this music video, Eminem gave the guitarist or the drummer, one of them, like a mixtape, and was like, "Hey, this is my music," and they just threw it away. And like they were looking back, they were telling the story in an interview, and like, yeah, if you go back, like you can see him in the music video. It's like brown hair, not bleached hair, Slim Shady, but like, you know, Marshall Mathers at the time. And they're like, yeah, it was what we didn't pay attention to it, we threw it away. And like, could you imagine? Like, we could be billionaires. We could have been Dr. Dre before Dr. Dre signed Eminem and called it a day.
About that. Eminem doing
imagine the hubris. Imagine the hubris you have to be like, we could be the same level of producer as Dr. Dre.
No, I know, but it is funny that you were in Detroit filming a music video.
Yes,
and
that part is true. It's just so funny to me that you're like, we could have been Dr. Dre and we could have brought Eminem along. It's like, you single-handedly would have made it so that now, an argument to be made, because I personally am somebody who does not care for anything Eminem has done or ever will do. So an argument to be made that they could have saved this world from Eminem, which would have been cool. But you know, that's just a personal thing. It's you know, a big deal. I know people like him.
What would be fun, and I know you guys don't want to do this, just randomly going through this list and saying if just two options, they're great or they suck, just to see what Damien's opinion would be.
Oh, he's gonna lose his fucking mind. So let it rip. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let's start a little bit down here. Static X.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw them like 2 or 3 times.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're awesome.
That's fine.
The Late Great Drowning Pool.
I didn't listen to much.
You can't single out. You can't single out. You got as a whole, as a collective.
Then no.
Okay, yeah, trash. POD.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
Fuck
good.
yeah.
Good.
The best
3 Days
Christian rock.
Grace.
What's that? Sorry.
3 Days Grace.
No.
No.
Okay. Seven Dust. I actually like Seven Dust back in the day.
Did not listen
Good.
much.
And also, fun fact about our friend Damien is that he went and toured with Seven Dust.
Really? I really enjoyed
cool.
Seven Dust. Breaking Benjamin.
No.
I think
I've
I
seen
liked them a
Breaking
little bit
Benjamin.
back then. Yeah.
I have seen them twice in concert, both times at festivals, both times not both times in St. Louis. One in St. Louis, one somewhere else. And the lead singer, and I don't want to hear any bullshit about like he had cancer, blah 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 blah. He is the angriest person I've ever seen in my life. Like toward the fans. Trash. Chevelle.
Yeah, so hold really quick. I
Okay.
want to say not only trash, but the best thing God did was create Periphery so that when the Halo remake came out,
They
Periphery
can redo
could
the
rip
music.
out that song and redo and not have it in Halo
Hell yeah.
2 anymore.
Yeah. Chevelle.
Fuck yeah.
No.
I fucking love Chevelle.
I love Chevelle.
Yeah. And their entire discography. Don't even care.
You guys have met my cousin before. He is absolutely the world's biggest Chevelle fan.
Yeah.
He would love to talk about nothing about Chevelle. Like
I
just talking about Chevelle all day. Yeah.
Chevelle's a band
I
you
don't
forget
care about Chevelle,
exists,
but-
and then I'll hear a song, and then I'll go listen to their discography for like a week.
Dude,
Be like, this is
I got a song
it's
in my head
slap.
right now, and I'm gonna put
Slaps.
it back on my Spotify playlist as soon as I
Yeah.
get off this podcast. Yeah,
Slaps.
it does.
Here's a band I forgot existed until a few days ago, and I heard a random song, and it was not great. Seether.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, terrible. Lamb of God.
Great.
Lamb of God
I think fine.
Not only great, but I love the fact that you would think that they would definitely be people that would go to Hogfest, not super progressive people, and they put down shitty people all the time and get people kicked out of their concerts for being really shitty. Awesome, love them.
Also, just real quick, if I say it, I don't like them. It's not that I don't like them; it's that I don't listen to them. I'll tell you if I think they're garbage, but
Love Lamb of
just want to
God.
make sure it's clear.
Here's another band I forgot exists. Number 32 on this weird ranking of new metal. I want to say they're a one-hit wonder. Power Man 5000.
Yeah, no.
When Worlds Collide. That song at the time was
That song was
everywhere.
pretty fucking.
It was.
was
pretty good.
Was everywhere.
It's Lock Room Worlds. Come on. Oh, that was a good one. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
You know what's hilarious?
I
You
didn't
want to
listen
know
to
a funny thing? This is another thing that'll send Damien over the edge. For the longest time in my life, I always assumed that song was by Static X. I just
I
assumed
can
it was
see
the same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
That's fair, but I think Power Man 5000 predated Static X.
It
by a couple of
did.
years.
It did.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
just always assumed that was their song.
yeah. Oh, Taproot.
I can't remember the song,
No.
but I think I have listened to them. But yeah.
Their single names won't make it. It won't matter. I was like, maybe Edema is on there. I can say Edema's trash. Also, fun
No,
fact
it's
about
not.
Edema. Edema, if I'm not mistaken, was the nephew or the cousin of what's his name, lead singer of Korn, which is why that band got signed in the first place. All right, we'll do one more. Ooh, here's a new one. I don't know if you guys remember this band, Orgy.
No, I don't know who that is, but I'm just gonna say trash.
I feel like that probably predated you. They
Predate me, God.
no, I'm saying that because like I was young when that came out, so like you were
the
younger
same
than me.
We're not.
Get
We're not the same age. You were younger than me.
Barely, and
Dude,
also
It's not
there's
2
no
years.
new metal.
It's a handful.
I'm not having this argument. I
Did you
don't.
say how many years?
Handful of years.
I don't.
Oh, I thought
I
you said
don't-
9 years. I was like, he's
I
not
don't
9
mean
years
this,
old.
I don't mean this in a negative way, but when you were like,
Fucking-
if you're 14 and 15 as a freshman in high school, and you are like a 6th grader, that is a big difference when it comes to like music.
You guys
and
are
pop and
3
everything.
years older than me.
I know, but when you're talking that younger
Stop
age,
acting
it
like
matters.
you were out here as a
Oh.
3-year-old listening to Orgy. It
God.
wasn't happening.
Mommy and Daddy are
That's
yelling.
what I'm saying. If it was a little too old for me at the time, and I was a little older than you, and you would have been like 4th, 5th grade, it predates you. That's all I said.
No.
You're so defensive about your age.
You can listen to music in
So
4th, 5th
defensive.
grade.
About your age.
So ridiculous.
2 more. Hollywood Undead is on this list.
That shouldn't be on there and also trash.
I don't listen to
Thank
it.
you. And we'll end on this one. Trapped, the American rock band from Los
No,
Gatos,
actually-
California.
The trashiest of all the bands that we've listed off of here, and their singer is a fucking douchebag.
And he's in the news recently because I think they're like trying to go on tour again.
I'm
And had
sure
to
they're
cancel.
probably trying to get on Hogfest.
they had to cancel a majority of their tour, if I'm not mistaken, because like they're playing bars. They had like 20 people showing up, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, they were just
That's
railing on
exactly
fans.
what he gets because if so, when Twitter was still Twitter, they got the singer got into an argument for absolutely zero reason, unprovoked, just decided to be a fucking douchebag. Got into an argument with the guitar player from Veil of Maya, one of the most prolific metalcore bands of all time, and was like, I'm a better guitar player than you in every way, and Trap's music is way better than Veil of Maya's. And it was like, okay, I sure. Like, and so
You had two albums. I mean, I'm sure you had more, but like you had two albums that people remember, but really one single that anybody cared about. So
yeah.
let's
And let's like really, we're gonna say you're a better guitar player. Please stop. Like, just put your phone down and stop it, and go back to talking about Trump and conspiracy theories. You fucking loser.
Also, fun fact, which I'm sure most people from that time of music remember, is the only reason people gave a crap about Trapped is because they were in that movie with Bruce Willis, which was like a military movie. I don't know if you guys remember that.
No.
Oh yeah,
something of the Sun.
Tears
Something
of the Sun.
Yeah,
Tears of
the Sun. Yeah.
Yep.
And I do not know what we just gave up remembering in our lives to remember that Bruce Willis is in a movie called Tears of the Sun.
Can I tell
I'm sure
you?
we lost something important.
Can I tell you? Just like most things that I remember, and I have like an encyclopedic knowledge about. That movie is one of them because it was always, for whatever reason, in my parents' house, like when they would, like if they had like their DVDs set up, right? That movie was always, it was never in anything, but it was never in the shelf with all the other movies. It was just set out on the entertainment center at all times. Like somebody was like, I don't want to watch Tears of the Sun, but I always want to have it ready for when I put the movie, like when I'm ready to watch it. And I always would walk by and be like, why is this fucking movie here all the time? And then,
Go ahead.
yeah, and then when my parents got divorced, it still stayed in my dad's house like that all the time. So I know he's the culprit now. But so now that movie lives rent free in my head. Any single time somebody talks about Bruce Willis Army movie, my brain always goes Tears of the Sun. I mean, like it is there all the time.
It exists in me as well, but that for a different reason. Because I had the biggest crush on Monica Bellucci, and that was like her first, like, because she's foreign, right? Like French or something. That was like her first big American movie that kind of introduced her before she ended up in The Matrix and other stuff. I love Monica Bellucci, which is like the only reason I even remember that. So, anyway, everybody, welcome to our music cast.
Yeah.
I was going
November.
that list was wonderful, actually. Going through like all night, just scrolling because there were so many bands I forgot existed. Like I see six.
I had a
puppies
real
on
quick
there.
question for
Like,
you. What's
I
number
remember you.
one on that list?
Oh, I said it. The first one that was on that list was System of a Down.
Okay. All right. Incredible.
Bullshit.
But not.
I like System of a Down.
Oh,
I'm not a big.
Yeah, just don't belong on that list particularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Serge Tankian fan of his solo music.
I like his solo music. I also like his books. Yeah, he does good poetry. Yeah.
I don't mind Serge Tankian as a person. I've seen him. He opened for the Foo Fighters. Did like an hour set with the Foo Fighters, and it was just him. And somehow System of a Down brings the weirdness into like a cohesive collective. Him by himself is just weird.
He's an operatic singer. When you take the metal away from it, it's just him being still the same goofy System of a Down, but just mostly operatic stuff with decent music behind it. It's just better.
I've never listened to his solo stuff. I've only listened to
I Elect the Dead, I think was the first album I listened to. That was just his. But yeah, I liked it.
Maybe.
I was like,
Maybe.
All right. Well, second comment we have. This is the last one. From our homie Tori. Hey guys, long time no talk. First wanted to say thank you all for the Steam Deck advice / recommendations. I love it so much. To parrot what Alex said in the earlier Prologue episode, I am also finding it harder and harder to turn on my PS5. Boy howdy. And hey, I've been playing Metaphor on my PlayStation 5. So I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm just going to watch Apple TV here. I'm going to watch Hulu here. You can't do that because the network card in there is such fucking garbage trash that it literally stops to catch up on loading the episodes. It never does it on my Xbox. PS5 is horrible when it comes to your streaming services. Let me just say I have always knew Steam had sales, but I truly never noticed how much they did and how you can find some great deals until I started diving into PC gaming even more. I would like to know how everyone enjoyed the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. We'll definitely talk about that. How long did we all spend as the character creator? I spent more time than I would like to admit. Extra fluffy palicos. I am excited about your next video game book club. I recently bought Castlevania Lords of Shadows Ultimate Edition on sale on Steam, and I'm excited to play it along with you. I just started.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I just started and finished up Chapter 1, and I'm enjoying it so far. It plays nicely on the Steam Deck. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on the game. Until next time, Tori. Thank you, Tori. That was a great comment.
Yeah, shout out to you, Tori. Yeah. So the first off, just want to say rest in peace to your wallet for Steam sales.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it just keeps happening. It only gets worse. There's times
and it's not just Steam sales, because you can buy games for your Steam devices other places too. So it's like your Steam sale and your CD key sale, and it's everywhere else that just sells shit that goes into Steam.
Yes.
Humble bundles. It's
huge,
a problem.
yeah.
It's a problem.
It's bad. It's really bad. There's so many games I have that I'm just like, I have this and I know that it's not going to get played. But
Add
that's
family
what the book
share
club
to
is
that,
for.
and it just gets even worse.
Yeah, family share is bad now. But yeah, it's great. The PC gaming rules. It's just fucking God. There's that website. I don't remember what it is, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to. People can look it up at their own risk to hurt themselves. But there's that list that you can upload your Steam library into, and then it tells you how much money you've spent. And it's not a number that you want to know.
No.
So just keep that information to yourself. But if you ever feel like, taking a ride and figuring out just how much it is sitting in that library, there you go.
And it doesn't seem bad. Like, I'll get on, because we have family share, right? I'll get on there and I'll be like, oh, somebody bought whatever, like maybe the new game, like the Neva game, which is like $20, right? You're like, oh, that's not bad, $20. And then somebody else buys a game that's on sale for like $4. Like, oh, that's not bad. But man, throughout the course of the year, that adds up. Like, I can't tell you how many like under $5 games I've bought that I still have never played. I just have
You will
them.
never. You won't. But they'll be there so that you can go, oh, one day when I fucking...
When we run out of
Well, I
video game
want
book
to.
club games, we'll start going through this damn library.
Yeah. I can't wait for the fall sale. I'm very excited.
Oh, sure.
That's true. Fall sale's coming up. Yeah.
Fall sale's coming up. Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, do we just want to? Where do we want to start with Monster Hunter? Since we're there, a couple of us
Yeah, just
played
want to
it.
go into it since we all messed around with it.
Yeah,
We did.
Yeah. Did you have a
Monster Hunter
chance,
Wilds?
Preston? I know you played and then went out of town, right? Did you have?
Yeah, so I was able to play like the intro section essentially. Once they got the open world stuff, I didn't play anymore outside of that. I got home a little bit later on Sunday, and I played the night or the day it went live. I played a little bit after work, but other than that, I didn't play much. But yeah, definitely spent a little over an hour, if not more, on the character creator, just getting all the little bits and pieces in there, and designing the palico. I always design my palico after my old family cat Elvis, so it's always like a white cat with just yellow highlights on the tips of everything. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I just went longsword at first because I'm like, oh, I'll get the heavy bow gun afterwards. And then I just didn't have time. I didn't get home enough time, and I didn't want to play it when I got home on Sunday. I'm like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I didn't spend that long in the character creator. To be fair, character creator in this game isn't hard for me because I do the same character every time. And it's not just this game; it's a lot of games. I literally just make Titus for Final Fantasy X. So I pretty quickly find the hair. I spent a little time getting the color right, getting the eyes right.
It's probably the quickest part about creating that character is that because that hair is just a default hair right in
Yeah,
there.
it is. I spent a little bit of time because you were very hard jawline as a male, so I had to soften the face and pull down the chin a little bit and make it more rounded like the video game. And then I had to get the colors of the outfit right, and I was almost able to duplicate the outfit without the overalls. because there is like that half shirt in there.
Oh,
So I
sure.
was able to
Yeah.
make it yellow and get the right colors. So I've made Titus in like all of these games, including like the Monster Hunter World. That's my character in Final Fantasy. So like that wasn't long. And then same for the Palico. I make my late cat Ellie, and I always have. Right.
Mhm.
So same thing. I know pretty quickly where to go. So yeah, I made Ellie and I'm Titus in that game, and that was that. But boy, I it was great. It for me, like it was
Cool.
flawless.
Did you
It
guys end up
looked
playing together?
gorgeous.
We
We
did.
did.
Yeah.
We did
Nice.
all the bosses, all the monsters that were in there available to kill. There was a little goofiness at first, just with like the hub area, figuring out how to get the people to show up in your like you're from different
Yeah.
lists in your area, and then how to get out in the world together. Once we
Once
figured out
you're
that,
locked in, though, you're in.
Mhm.
Like it was so
Yeah,
easy. It's funny too because we went back, like obviously trying to go back to World, like and how segmented their process is for getting people into things. I much prefer the way that it is in Wilds. It's just crazy that there's no like onboard. I mean, I'm sure there will be in the actual launch of the game in February, but there's no onboarding for that whatsoever. And so like Alex and I are like, I'm like looking stuff up on the side, and we're being like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, we're in this session, but it doesn't work. And when we leave town, we don't show up, and I don't know what's happening. And then you have to like create like it's not enough to invite somebody into your session. You then have to invite them into your environment to like have them load into the same open space that you're in.
you can see like
And
100 people. Like you can see
yeah, it's
so
what's
many.
so many. Like they're and the thing is it really feels like they are this close. And I know there's already one that was only in China, but they are this close to the Monster Hunter MMO that I have wanted for a very long time. And if they ever do that, and
You have 30 years of monsters to bring in too. Like
and it's
you
good,
would go for a while.
I that would be the game that would probably stop me from playing Final Fantasy 14 anymore.
Yeah,
So
fair.
what would your ideal game, because what would it be? Because if you think about what they've introduced in other games you could expand on, you build your own room, but you could turn that
I can
into a
tell you
whole
exactly.
house. Right? You have 30 years of monsters to pull from, customization. Like there's so much you
I'll
can
tell you
do
exactly
now.
what it is. So easy. This is you do this loop, and I will be playing this game forever. You have sort of the same similar setup as Wilds, right? Where it's just you have your hub areas, like the big cities that people are at. You can have like your little home. You can the but next to your home or at your home is where you would do all of the same typical things that you would have done in the like the hub area of the base game. So like your farm to make like herbs and honey and different things for ammo and stuff. That'll be at your home. You can build up that at your home and be like a little thing. Get your farm going. Get your herbs. Get all the stuff you want. Your Tail Rider Safari. So when you send out all of your friends, Palicos and stuff like that to go and do missions and do things like that, that's all at your home too, and that builds up over time as you get resources and do things. And that's its home. That's its all. Its own other meta game that's on that side, right? And then um, the rest of it would be set up as wild, either your big hub cities and stuff like that, and the different continents and the different things that you can go over and fight monsters on. And then as you're out in the world, it's just monsters are popping up. You're fighting them with your friends. Everything's going, and you're good to go. However, obviously, MMOs need end games, high level content, things that you got to do. Monster Hunter World actually did this in a cool way, and they never ever did anything with this event style after this. But it's something that Alex and I talked about all the time that I wish they would have kept doing. The 16-player hunt with
Mhm.
Kolv Teroth,
Cool. Yeah, Kloof Teroth, yeah.
where it was all these different sets of four that were all doing things at the same time, and you're kind of affecting things. It was cool, but that was the limitation based on the PS4 and just the art and the Xbox One at the time, and just like what it was able to do, and like just online wise, like you couldn't, with all of the stuff that was happening in that game, you couldn't have 16 people on at the same time doing these things. But you could have like an asynchronous situation happening, which is what they did for that one. But Alex and I and as you're playing through the hunt with the 4 people that you're tagged with, you'd see like Group A just did this, or Group A just broke its horn, or Group A just did, whatever. I think that if you had it to where it was 16, 24, whatever people, and you're all doing these giant monster hunts, and you have different things going off, like and sort of like the same way that some of the Boja raids worked, Alex, where you had to have like different teams go off and do different things. Like imagine being like, oh, okay, I'm on Dragonator Squad, so like we are fighting things and getting stuff all the way up there, and then we are waiting for the moment where the other team lures Kulturath in the right way. We all pull the levers, the Dragonator comes out, and then we can jump down and join the fight, that kind of stuff. It'd be perfect. It'd be perfect, and I wouldn't need another game ever.
Let me add one to it, just to one up that there. You could even have like 4 to 8 person dungeon/raids.
Yeah.
But instead of doing like weird mechanics, they're literally just like the investigations where you would have a 4 monster hunt with a timer or a 3 monster hunt. That would be dope.
Yep.
Yeah. I would be all about that.
Yep. And they do so good. They do so good with super moves and different things like that. The enrage timers could be so cool because I think this was it was at the tail end of World, and I think it was Namiel was the monster. But Alex, you remember the monster? It was like, I'm pretty sure it was Namiel, but when she flies up and then shoots the beam straight down at the ground, and you had to run and hide behind rocks. Yep. Because as it was like beaming into the ground, and then the sound would drop out completely, and it was this little ball of light that would come down and the whole thing would explode. You could use those moves as the enrage timers for the boss, so that when you if you don't finish it in a certain amount of time, like those moves pop off and it's a full wipe and you'd start over.
They did that with the Behemoth thing for Final Fantasy II. That sound when literally the whole thing, it almost like it sucks the sound out of the arena. It's like, So in short, I love I still played with the glaive. I didn't try really anything else. I tried the dual blades for a hot minute, but I stayed with the glaive. I like the way you can take 2 weapons and how you switch them out. I like being able to hop on your mount in the middle of like a hunt and stuff. They've done a good job for everything I've seen. Like everybody's moveset's so cool. Like watching other people fight, I almost get jealous that like I can't do that move. But like I have my own cool moves, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna play with the dual blades, but it was so good that we did what we needed to do and then got off because like why spend forever in this game that's not gonna be out for months? And we immediately just went and bought Monster Hunter World on Steam.
I texted Preston to do it.
I bought it for Travis too. I gifted it to him.
And I also scared Preston half to death because he thought that I was telling him that we were all dying.
Let me go real quick. Let me pull up the phone so I can find this text message. But guys, this is how the text message started. I'm out over there.
I agree with Preston on this one, to be fair. After reading it, I also agree with Preston.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at home, I'm getting ready to do the Halloween thing, just kind of chilling. It's late at night too, I think, as well.
No, it was like 6 maybe.
It was 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, well, fair enough. I guess it was late.
First message, Preston.
Alex, midday.
Preston. So while you were out in STL today, Alex and I just had a conversation. So I'm texting you now to let you know the decision we came to. Stop at that message.
Yeah, that's fair. That's valid.
Another minute later, and I want you to know that we thought very long and hard about this. Another minute later, but we played Monster Hunter Wilds demo today and decided that in the interest of making sure all our skills stay up to par, we would all be interested to go through Monster Hunter Worlds on PC to make sure we stay sharp. Man, at first I was sitting there, I'm like, are they breaking up with me right now? Are they breaking up the podcast? Like, well, this sounds like a breakup letter. Like, I'm going to ease them into this one little text at a time to kind of like make sure that I want to build my thoughts together.
No.
Yeah,
I do agree. Like at the pace those would have come through, I know
the tone that you were trying to set with it, but without me knowing what the next text were after that. Like if you were like, hey Preston, we played Monster Hunter Wilds a bunch this weekend, so I wanted to have this conversation with you. That would have started off a different way. but you did not mention Monster Hunter at all at 10 o'clock at night with this chat. And I'm like,
The reason I
okay,
say
get
no
ready
still is
for it.
because you know us. Like we would not do that.
No, people get things in their lives. I mean, if this podcast were ever to stop and just because you guys were just who knows what happens? Life events happen. Maybe we get too tired of it. Maybe we just feel like we don't have the time for it. I get it. Not a big deal. This is just a podcast we do with friends. We're still going to hang out and have conversations and play video games together. It's just whether or not we want to do it as a podcast. But it could happen at any time, man.
Let me tell you.
It did sound like an emergency text.
No, yeah, but here, let me tell you why the tone of that text was that tone, is because the amount of hem-hawing that came from one Mr. Alex during this process
About do
would
or
have
do
had
not
you
play
thought
Worlds.
that we were deciding the fate of somebody's life. And so we were sitting here, and he goes, he's like, man, I don't know. Like, we got done playing Wild, and he goes, man, I don't know. It's just something about that game, man. I don't know, man. It just really gets me thinking about Monster Hunter World and just how much fun we had and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, for sure. And he was like, I mean, it's out there on Steam. I was like, and I just said, look, man, all I'll tell you is that if that's something you want to do, you just let me know. And then we'll message Preston about it. We'll buy it and we'll do it. I don't care. Yes, we have till February. We can do it. I think it'll be fun. If you want to do it, he's like, God, I just don't know. It's just like we could, but then it's like, man, we got these games coming out now, and I still got to play Like a Dragon. I still got to play Metaphor. Like, I don't fucking know, blah, blah. I said, yeah, no, I get it. I was like, I'll just let you know. It's on sale right now. They do have a little bundle going. I said, so, look, you just let me know, and if it happens, we'll do it. I'll think about it. I don't know. It's just I'll think about it. He gets off. Not fucking 5 minutes removed from us.
I was like cleaning the house. It was like an hour or two later.
Maybe. And he's like, anyways, I'm downloading it now. And I was like, all right, well then I'll text Preston. And so then I sent it to you, and then I went and bought the game after I sent the text message.
I sent him a text before that because I was looking. I was like, I'm not going to play this if it's going to just be the two of us and takes forever, right? Like, I'm not going to do it. So I looked at concurrent player base, and Steam had like 18,000 active concurrent players on that game, and I was
especially
like,
after the demo, because that
I know I was like,
that beta was not demo. That beta, I guess you could call it. It was that had more concurrent players than the brand new Call of Duty Black Ops that just came out when it was going on. Like that's insane.
Yeah. So when I saw it had like almost 20,000 people like playing Worlds, I was like, well, we'll never wait for people to join. I was like, okay, let's do it. And now I'm 16 hours in, and that's that. So
I'm not that far, yeah.
it plays great on Steam Deck. So like when I've been on the road, I can play, on like in my room. So and like I don't mean you're holding us back. We're trying not to get too far away from you guys. On the plus side, we'll be able to like go back and help you with stuff. So like. And I'm trying not to get too far ahead of Christian if I'm on and he's not. So like I'll go do the optional stuff that's like go collect eggs, go kill these things for the right. Like I'm doing the menial stuff, and then we're hunting monsters together.
Up, yeah.
And we're gonna be so like when you guys hop on, you're gonna get in a mission that you're gonna have to start off by yourself because that is the barrier of entry this game has.
I gotten past to the point where you can join other players.
You haven't. Yeah, like every story mission will be you have to get to a point by yourself. So you're gonna have to get in every mission. You have to run, and you'll get a cutscene. And as soon as you do, you can shoot a flare, and we can join it. But like this game, forever never really lets you just party up and start one. Like, there are sometimes it does, but nothing story wise. So story wise, we all have to get to a certain point in the story of that mission where then we can go. Now we can all join. It's. Mm-hmm.
You'll see like a little thing. It's like you can pop up an SOS flare now, and you go great, and then you do it, and then people will join immediately. But it's so fucking annoying.
We got the same thing. It's been so long since we played. We got the same.
No, I remembered immediately because I said I knew it was gonna do it. Yeah.
I was like, sweet, we've done it, and then like every mission is like, what? You got to go by yourself. It's like, ugh.
I remember saying specifically too. That's why when I get in arguments with people, when they try to like poo-poo Rise and like say that it's a worse game, whatever. I'm like, dude, not only yes. Also just for the quality of life improvements alone, Like the fact that you can just walk up and do a quest and have people join it is so fucking refreshing. Like it's so easy. And Wilds makes it even easier because it's just there. You're just out in the world doing it and it's easy. Yeah.
I liked Rise a lot. There's part of me that still likes Worlds better, not on the quality of life stuff, but on the game itself. But I think it's deceiving because I probably put 100 hours into Rise, but we platinumed Worlds and put like 800 hours into.
You put more than 100 into Rise. When I looked last time, we were sitting at or at least my save file was in the 300, 400 area.
That still had to be half of what we spent.
It is half of Worlds. Now,
so
most of that was sitting there fucking hunting crowns, so it's not like it was all fucking sunshine and rainbows over there.
No, it's not. This far removed, now that it's done, I look back and I'm like, it's fine. It was just fine. In the moment,
you're not gonna
though,
do that again.
It was not fine in the moment. No, I tried to convince Christian we probably could do it again if he wanted to.
Yeah, fuck no.
Not by February.
I don't care. It doesn't matter if somebody gave me until the inevitable heat death of this universe. I'm never doing it again.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, Wilds is great, and I cannot wait.
Okay.
I can't wait for that game.
I did Great Sword and Hunting Horn. I'll just finish up there. I did Great Sword and Hunting Horn. I got to mess around a little bit with Hunting Horn just by myself. It's fun, and I'll probably totally bring it with. I don't know how it synergizes with Great Sword, but I know. But either way, Great Sword is perfect. And I saw a meme that I wanted to share in here because it was really funny. But it was people talking about weapon synergies now that you can bring two of them, right? Like,
Fair.
Hey, instead of a weapon that you're interested in, quote unquote, would it make more sense to bring a weapon that is closely related with your main as far as like armor and points and things like that, so that you can just have double? Yeah, right.
So much so as just bringing like two of the same weapon.
Right, and so then it was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I guess you could see that. And then somebody was like, yeah, I just don't know what would synergize really well with Greatsword. Like maybe like I could do hammer or something like that, because those are both like big damage kind of weapons that focus on just, coming right at the monster, blah, blah, blah. And then the person in the replies in the meme goes, I'm sorry, but what the fuck is everybody talking about here? We're Greatsword mains. The only other thing I'm bringing with me is another fucking Greatsword.
It's a way to be a main.
Yeah.
I mean, but it made sense. Like, if you're talking, especially in the high rank stuff, of having if I'm a glaive user, bring two glaives, have one of like straight damage, but the other one has the weakness affinity, right? Like that, yeah.
It's not the
means
worst
a lot.
idea. Yeah.
No, it's not. So I'm very excited. Very excited.
Great.
I can't wait to buy it. I can't wait to try and bid on it in our fantasy league. It's
We'll see.
We'll see.
Whoever doesn't get that in the first round, man.
It's gonna be under our breath. Like, are you fucking serious?
I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I'll go into my week because we just talked about it. I've only really played Worlds. Like, I've made some progress on like
true.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is it actually brought me to this weird conundrum on Like a Dragon, because I told you guys Like a Dragon is like my long-term game of the year, because like I have Kiryu stuff all across the board like 95%, so I've almost
playing it
finished
since
off.
the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I almost have all of his stuff finished off, and now I'm in chapter 13 of 14, and I'm trying to do all of Casca's stuff, but I realized how much of this game I was playing. I was like, well, I could just sprint to the end now and then come back in because they give you that mode of like you can come back and play and catch up on all the other stuff you didn't do later. I don't know that I would, because that's what happens, but I've been playing so much World, I might be sprinting to the end of that. So that's all I played, really. Have been those two games, but mostly.
You don't need to do those end game dungeons. I'm going to be so real with you. Like, just go. Just finish.
So I did the one. There's only two end game dungeons. There's one Hawaii and
one Japan and one Hawaii. Yeah.
So I finished the Japan 100%, like hardest EX levels and everything.
Yeah.
I'm only on like 40 or something on.
I'm sorry. Tell you,
I'm only on 20 in Hawaii, but
the one in Japan has the better story. Like, it's funnier. Like, it's got a whole thing. The one in Hawaii
it's a mon, like the guy that's been in other games for years, right?
Yeah. The one in Hawaii has nothing attached to it. You're fine.
So my concern for beating the story then is my level is Casca and everybody's 40. I don't know if that's high enough to beat the story.
the way that experience works in that game is that it scales, so you're fine. Like as you go through the rest of the game, you're going to go up like
Yeah.
like you'll get experience relative to how low or high your level is, so you'll be fine.
I got a little disappointed in completing everything anyway, not long ago when I did all of that stuff on Kiryu. Like all the video games you have to play, all the
Yeah.
mini games, all the mahjong and everything else. All of that stuff. And in chapter 12 or 11, I spent like 50 hours just doing all of that stuff, right? And then I got to Hawaii and realized that only like 10% of that stuff duplicates for Ichiban, right? So then like I looked at his stuff and it's mahjong again, all the video games again, all of his
Now,
stuff to
to be
complete.
fair,
name
none
and
of that
age.
stuff is actually story related. Like, you
No,
have to-
no, it's
yeah,
not.
It's just to do it. Yeah.
It's just me to do it. You're right. So yes, I know. So anyway, that's all I played. Those two. And quick little update and question. So I'm on episode like 155 of My Hero.
Okay.
And
Sure.
Christian, when I was talking to you the other day, you were like, "Oh, like you're still a ways behind. Like you have another like season or something." But when I was looking in Crunchyroll and other stuff,
No.
like I can't.
No, yeah.
Okay.
If you got the Stars and Stripes, like you're in.
Yeah,
that
you're at that
last,
season.
Yeah, I mean, right now
Latest.
you have.
You're just at the very beginning of it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so right now where I ended on the episode, you had
Or the
Oh,
very beginning of the back half. Stars and Stripes was the stinger for the mid-season finale that they did.
I'd say now I'm way past that. So I actually have like Deku fighting what's his name, all for one there, like those
Yeah.
two just
Yeah.
straight on in their fight,
Shigaraki.
and
Decay Boy.
yeah, Shigaraki. Yeah, you have Shigaraki. They're fighting, and then in the last episode, like people just started falling off, right?
Dude.
Like
That you'd be surprised how
so-
long they can stretch that whole section out.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not the first episode. They've been fighting
It's good.
Shigaraki for a few episodes, and they've like done all the spread out. But like this one was finally like, and even Deku and Shigaraki have been fighting, but this one he's in like finally his fourth form or something, and
Sure.
Hey man,
whole
it's anime.
rhythm is dropping.
It can just keep going. It keeps escalating. It
No,
keeps going
no, I
further,
know,
it keeps
but I
escalating.
think
You go to a side
I'm on,
story
like-
with someone else in another part of the country, and it escalates some more.
I'm on like 150. I think there's only like, or 155. I think there's only like 168
Yeah,
or
you're
something. It's not.
You are.
Yeah, so I'm almost done. So
Okay.
there's that. But yeah, I was like, I can't find another season, so I'm pretty sure this
No,
is.
you
Yeah.
are in the latest season. And the next season will be the final season.
Yeah, I'm all caught up. It's taken forever.
There you go. It's a lot.
It's
Mhm.
good, though.
All right. Well, I can
good,
go
though.
next if you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, played some more. Or let's just say I did play some Monster Hunter Worlds. So I decided to do heavy bowgun for World because I did longsword through all the main game of the original one. So I'm like, well, some like kind of tempting the idea to switch it up a little bit with the second weapon. I'm like, let's just start it with heavy bowgun. Start at the beginning so we can kind of ease ourselves into it because I know it's a lot of different type of ammo, stuff like that. I'm like, I kind of want to learn it. I don't just want to like just throw a heavy bowgun at myself in the middle of wilds and then just expect myself to know how to do it. So I thought this would be a good way to like ease myself into it and figure it out. So the last mission I did was just to defeat the tiny Jagras stuff. So I didn't get a whole lot into it, but I am kind of getting the feel for it, and it seems pretty cool. It's you got a giant fucking machine gun that does all sorts of crazy shit. There's a shotgun stuff. There's explosive. There's like cluster bombs. Like it seems really interesting. And if I have some other people who are in there fighting the bad guy or fighting the monster, and I can be a little bit further back, or at least not completely in the monster's ass the entire time, I would be having a lot
I
more
tell
fun.
you, that's
I
the
don't
other thing.
appreciate the way you said that, though. You're like, if I could have other people, like,
No, I mean,
we
the
are the
melee-
ones that have been holding you back from doing this.
It's just me as ranged, and it's like they're gonna come at me the entire time. And it's like,
Right.
but I'm ranged, leave me alone. But there's there's shotgun, there's stuff like that you can use. There's plenty of stuff to kind of get your have some fun with it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how I would do solo with some of these monsters. But I think I just need to learn how to play that weapon a little bit better.
Everything's
I just
viable.
feel so slow with it when I'm walking around. But put it away,
Yeah.
run away, pull it out.
Yeah, that's another thing about Rise that's so underrated is the movement that they
Oh my
added
god,
with
the
the fucking
fucking
wire bugs.
wire bugs,
Like, dude,
great.
with heavy bowgun and Rise, you get to
You
use
just
it to
zip
like
away.
slide around and fucking
Mhm.
like surf around the monster and just shoot at it while you're fucking sliding on the ground. Like, man,
At least with Wild, I'll have a mount. So I can be like, hey, call the mount over, run away real quick, and then, yeah, we'll be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm super curious how that goes a little bit further. I didn't play a whole lot of it. And then I did play a little bit of the Wilds. Played a bunch more Metaphor. I am at the third town, and I am having, like, I forget what the exact word for this type of anxiety is, like completion anxiety or something like that, but, like, the dungeon you're meant to, like, take care of in that town, like, I'm like, I want to do the side missions. I'm like, but the days are coming up. I'm like, I'm kind of feeling anxious about going into that one, but I know it'll be fine once I actually start going through it. But there's a lot to this. There's going to be a lot to this dungeon. I feel I haven't even touched it yet. I'm just kind of going and cleaning up the other stuff because as soon as you kind of like, you can choose your objective and you press the little button. Well, in PlayStation, you place like the middle button and it'll show you what level everyone was when they played that dungeon. And I'm like, I could probably do some side quests to level up. They did it with Persona 4 and 5. Persona 5, they did that with, to where it's like you press the button, you kind of saw what everyone's level was, or you kind of saw what they were doing that day, kind of a thing. But yeah, this one shows you like what characters they went in with, what classes those characters had, or archetype those characters had, and what level they were when they went through it. So you see someone like, at the end of this, they were level 40. I'm like, okay, that's someone who grinded their ass off for this. And you see someone who's like, okay, this is more like 25, 27. Some of them kind of like, eat their way through, so you can kind of see what the average medium is on what level you should be to kind of feel just comfortable going into that dungeon with. So I took Christian's advice. I made my main character a mage, so that way I can get some MP for just killing the little ads, or if you want to will, the lower level enemies, because as soon as you kill them, you get a little bit of experience MP. So that's been nice going through there. I did actually switch over to Merchant a little bit because I wanted to finish that quest. Merchant is actually pretty fucking cool. And like you can easily get extra slots, so it's just I just pretty much put other slots within the Merchant to level up with. But I'm having a lot of fun with that that game. The story is fucking amazing, so great, and it looks great, and it just plays. It's everything I wanted it to be and more. So I'm having a lot of fun with that Metaphor. I'm curious to hear where Christian's at in this one. But other than that, I played a little bit more of I Am Your Beast. It's kind of like my little late night. I got only about an hour left. I just kind of want to mess with it. Pretty much taking up my Zoneless Zen Zero game time, so haven't played that game for a while. I Am Your Beast is probably going to take that up, and I may jump back into it and put more story into it, but for right now, I'm good with where I'm at with that game. And then lastly, outside of the game that we have for the Game Book Club, when I went to St. Louis, me and my sister went to go see a movie. We went to go see Venom: The Last Dance because my sister loves the Venom movies. So
Does she really?
She likes them. I mean, Tom Hardy helps, but she does
he, though?
enjoy the movie. I mean, he
I
helps,
love
he
Tom
helps
Hardy
me
as an
too. To be
actor.
fair, I mean, I really like Tom Hardy.
I like Tom Hardy as an actor. I don't think there's any redemption quality of those movies. There's
I think it's
can
more of an
say.
attraction thing than it is of his acting prowess. So she really likes Tom Hardy.
You could have stayed at home and Googled photos of Tom Hardy for
I
free.
mean, who says she
Fuck
doesn't?
you. Fuck you. You don't ever get to tell somebody that they could have just stayed home and done something for free instead when you pay for these shitty movies and sit and waste your time doing it.
I don't. What
You
did I
watched that
pay
at home.
for? Madam Web, I didn't pay for. I
You
streamed
pay for the
that.
streaming service. Stop it.
Oh, that's not fair. We all pay for every streaming service.
No,
That's
also,
the way
but
the
also,
world
you're
works.
wasting time just like they are. They're going out to a movie theater to go watch and oogle at Tom Hardy. You're no different from being there, being like, I'm gonna put fucking Madam Web on and waste 2.5 hours of my life I'll never get back, even though you know that you're.
I'll waste my time on this movie. I'm just not gonna.
Yeah, he'll wait till it's
to
streaming.
the
So
movies to pay for it. Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
surprise, surprise! It's not a great movie. Filled with plot holes, filled with dumb shit. I went in. The one thing I was excited about this movie was Null was going to be in it, right? Voiced by
Same.
Andy Serkis. I'm like, okay, this is going to be dope. Pretty much what you saw in the trailer is all you get of Null. So
I
Null,
got hype. I got hype for a hot minute before this movie came out.
I
'Cause
know.
People were like,
And then you remember
the way
that
they're
it
gonna
was a
handle
Venom
Null.
movie.
Well, but they were like comic book authors were coming out, like people that wrote for those stories were like, the way they handle Null is so good. And I'm like, maybe they got 33% of this franchise right. And then after it came out, I read that they relegated him to like a minute and a half of the movie.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh.
You get him at the very end, as far as like a little like teaser thing or whatever, and then you get him at the very
Yeah.
beginning to kind of explain his story of who the fuck he is and why we're worried about him. So essentially, he's sending his little, I forget, they're like Xeno somethings, but essentially like they're not like symbiotes like Venom is. Like they're just like whatever monsters he puts through, and they eat things. So when they eat people or when they eat like symbiotes, like it shoots out the back of their head like a wood chipper. They're very weird designs. And literally, like they're chewing, and you see this blood and everything is spraying out the back of their head. Hey, people make choices.
They sure
So
do.
watching this and going through it, and it's just so the way Null, the reason Null is on or has his creatures on Earth is that because Venom saved Eddie Brock, as far as like in one of the previous movies, like saved his life by putting a suit on him and saving his life. It creates a MacGuffin, whatever, like a rock that looks like it has a little spiral in the middle of it with Null's like symbol on it, and he needs that to escape the prison the symbiotes put him in. So, whenever Venom is in the full symbiote suit, it activates that little thing as like a beacon, and so they know where to go to find it. So of course he doesn't want to go full transform. He can have his little Venom head pop up and talk. That's fine, but he can't go full Venom because then it will send out the beacon. So they're hiding. They're trying to get away from Null. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. They go to Las Vegas. They end up stopping in Las Vegas. And Mrs. Chen is there. So like, oh, Mrs. Chen, we're so glad to see you. We haven't seen you forever. And she's like, oh, we're going to dance. And like Venom's like, yeah, I want to dance. And Tom Hardy's like, no, we're not going to dance. He's like, oh, we're fucking dancing. So Venom goes full symbiote mode. And I'm like, bro, you just had this whole thing of we can't go full symbiote. And you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it because you don't want Null to come. And you're very afraid of Null. He'll end the whole universe, blah, blah, blah. But you're like, but I want to dance with Mrs. Chen, though. So of course.
I was in Vegas at the same concert venue as a friend of mine,
Yeah.
and still never found him there. How do you walk into Vegas
It's
and
a
find this
beacon.
person from your neighborhood?
Oh, they were in the
I'm talking about
exact
Miss-
same
Miss
casino.
Chen. That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I mean,
How does
whatever.
that even-
You
Bro.
can just
Do not start poking holes through this Venom movie. Like you'll be sitting there.
yeah.
fucking
Based on
poking
what Preston's
everywhere.
saying, the idea of you bumping into somebody randomly is not that far fetched.
In Venom, correct. So yeah, it's stupid shit like that to where it's like, oh, they're very serious. They don't want to go full form, and then he just goes full form. Like, of course, the thing fucking finds him then, and then tries to fight him, and it's just all this bullshit. And there's a bunker under Area 51 where they got all the symbiotes, and of course, at the very end, spoiler alert, there's a whole bunch of symbiotes fighting. And then at the very end, nothing
Carnage in
happens with
there?
Null, except and this is
Carnage is dead, right?
Carnage is already dead,
Carnage
but yeah,
died.
there's
Carnage
like
died in the second
7 or
one.
8 other symbiotes they have in
Yeah.
this bunker.
Jesus Christ, guy.
To be fair,
Alright.
there are a lot of symbiotes in the comics. It's a whole race of like beings,
True.
but
Sure.
they're all
Yeah.
different colors. They all have their own quirks. Yeah. So everyone's favorites here that they didn't get in the other movies. But okay, so I'm not going to spoil like what actually happens at the end, but essentially Null doesn't get freed, right? But the end credit teaser is him popping up his face, like being like, "I'm coming for you." I'm like, he has the fucking MacGuffin. I'm like, the end of the movie said you didn't get it. They won, but at the end credit thing says that you got the MacGuffin and that you're coming for us. I'm like, what? I don't know why I'm upset about seeing this, but okay, whatever. Maybe they'll bring Nolan to like the next Spider-Man, or maybe they'll bring him into something else. I don't think so, because I think Marvel's gonna keep that away with like
Maybe-
a fucking 1,000-foot pole. But
Maybe they'll bring him into
Secret Wars
What's-
is what I'm thinking of.
no. What's the Craven the Hunter? Fuck, who cares? Just drop him in
So
Craven.
is the next Spider-Man thing going to be a reboot again?
No, it's maybe Tom.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom
Is
Holland.
it? Is it going to be Tom Holland?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I thought the whole point of the last thing was that Tom Holland wasn't going to come back then.
No, that was just that his friends didn't know who he was. It was supposed to be street level
They-
Spider-Man at that point.
Right.
They ended. They ended his
sorry.
arc. They ended his
I-
arc.
I don't mean in universe. I mean like outside of it.
Oh,
like, out-
contract
in the
wise and
real
everything
world.
like that.
Yeah, like I thought
Bro.
this was them being like, "Hey," because then that's why Tom Holland was like not talking like anytime he was doing interviews, he didn't want to talk about Spider-Man at all, and then he went and did a bunch of different movies and like
Christian, I think what was happening at the time is that was the end of Marvel's contract with
Phase, whatever,
Sony.
yeah.
And then Sony was like, we want to take this back. So yeah, like I think at the point Tom Holland hadn't signed another contract with Sony and it was up in the air. However, because Madam Web was supposed to kick off this Spider-Woman thing and was
big
terrible,
fluke.
it looks like Marvel is going to retain what they're doing with that Spider-Man, and I think Tom Holland is supposed to be on that.
Is that like actually official though? Like, have they said like?
I can't remember.
That's a great question.
But
'Cause Ali
I guarantee
said
they'll
something
want to
about
have him
Spider-Man
back.
4. If it was real, I didn't know.
They'll have the Marvel Disney check there, and they'll say how many zeros you want, and they'll go forward with it. They'll want him back to do this whole Secret War stuff because they're gonna bring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in because they're gonna do Secret Wars. So they're gonna have all the variants of everyone coming in there. Fucking Wesley Snipes' Blade will probably be there. All this kind of shit. So everyone's gonna be in Secret Wars, and they'll bring Marvel back for that at least too.
Marvel's Spider-Man 4 is confirmed through through a leak recently. As far as like officially Tom Holland, the leak says the plot is his story, but I don't know there's been any confirmed that he has signed a new contract. But yeah, like Marvel's piece of that.
The bro would take the money.
Why would you not?
I mean, you already have enough money to last you the rest of the lifetime. Like, you don't. Tom Holland is at
Christian,
the point.
That's true, Christian, because that's how rich people think. As we know.
No, well, I'm just saying. So, like in Tom Holland's case specifically, he did kind of just like fall off. Like, not fall off in a bad way, but like
he's not doing a whole lot of movies outside of Spider-Man.
He did Spider-Man, and then he did that one movie where he was getting his cheeks clapped in a bathroom.
Bro,
and then he
did Uncharted.
Yeah, and then he was like, anyways, and then now he just hangs out at his house and does fuck all, which I'm in favor of. Like, I'm not saying have your peace, bro. Like, do your thing. I just think that it's, like, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody was like, if he looked at something, you're like, it's not worth the stress. Like, I have enough money to last me 4 lifetimes now, so no.
And residuals on that's gotta be crazy too.
He did Cherry, but that was that like Apple TV movie.
Yeah, he'll do some small stuff here and there.
He did. Yeah. The crowded room is a mini series. Yeah, I don't know. Cool. All right.
Yeah, it's my week.
No.
Wait, before you go, Christian, sorry, there's one thing I forgot. I too, at no cost, mind you, because it was from a friend's Plex server, also watched a terrible movie while I was gone. Joker Folie à Deux.
Oh, I'm not even gonna bother with that one.
So we found the line.
I mean, I hear it's a musical. So if is it a musical?
So it is. Now here, let me preface. I actually like musicals. Like I love La La Land.
I like La La Land too. But if you ask somebody who does musicals, they're gonna tell you La La Land's not a musical.
Oh, La La Land's 100% a musical.
Ask people who actually do musicals. They'll fucking snoot in your face like, "Chris, I like musical."
It is 80%.
It's as much of a musical as Disney movies are musicals. That's fine. Yeah, I like La La Land. I do like La La Land. I'll give you that. I love La La Land.
But go further, like the Moulin Rouge.
Yep. I like those.
Of course, like Hamilton. Of course, everybody loves Hamilton. Whatever. But like, I like musicals. I like the theater. We go to shows all the time, so it is what it is. That part. So that movie was one of the most frustrating movies I've ever watched, because Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix were absolutely incredible. Joaquin Phoenix put on a performance as the Joker, much like Colin Farrell has done in The Penguin, where you forget that's Colin Farrell. Like you just think this is a man that looks like the Penguin play in The Penguin, right? Like that's what you envision. And so like both of them did super well. I actually like the Harley route that Lady Gaga went, because like honestly, I don't love Margot Robbie's like cartoony New Yorky.
I do.
So like I don't mind that in the animated series, but beyond the animated series, I don't like it personally, right?
Birds of Prey was really good.
I'm not going to shit on the movie. I just like the
choice for the character.
The choice they made for the character, right?
Alex doesn't want somebody in his face going Mr. J over and over again.
Yeah, it's that. I don't love it. So like I like the way.
Preston was like, I want the lights turned off and I want somebody to call me Mr. J.
I'm a Fran Drescher stand. I like that accent. Okay.
And Lady
Spoilers for 4 minutes and 30 seconds for Joker 2 in 3, 2, 1. Go.
And Lady Gaga, like they gave. I'll just give you spoilers because you guys are gonna watch it. It's fine. And if you do, who cares? So
Fuck
like, the movie's trash. So like they actually gave her a pretty compelling thing. Like she manipulates the Joker into him falling in love with her, right? And it's like we come from a similar background. My dad died in a car wreck. I burnt down my mom's house. She put me in like this insane asylum. Blah blah blah. So like we're similar, and they fall in love, sort of thing. Then you come to find out she's been playing him the whole time. She was really just intrigued by him. She comes from a wealthy family. Both of her parents are still alive. They're both doctors. She went to grad school, of course, we know, for psychiatry, and because of her obsession, she checked herself into this asylum. Like that was actually a compelling story, and that was like a 3-sentence throwaway that they just left, and like it turns into this weird courtroom drama. The songs, I don't mind the musical pieces, and the story they were telling through this delusion were okay, but the actual written songs, like what they put to paper, was just not good. And then the whole thing at the end, Preston, I think you know how it ends, right? You were spoiled on this.
No, but you can spoil it for me. I don't care. I'll make sure that everybody.
For anybody that does care, spoilers next 30 seconds. So to top it all off, you've been sitting through this movie that like is not picking up where the things people loved about the last Joker, right? They're throwing it to the wind, they're turning musical to stab everybody in the gut. One thing further, you find out that Arthur Fleck, the Joker, is not the fucking Joker. So at the end of the movie, another inmate walks up because like Arthur is like, I've been living a delusion. I did kill all these people. I'm not the Joker. I feel bad about it. Like the Joker is a persona you put on me. Like that's not me. I'm not insane. Like I don't want to do it. So he goes back to the institution. This inmate walks up. He's like, hey, let me tell you a joke. And he's like, sure, go ahead. And the kid's like, so, a psychopath and the Joker walk into a bar, blah, blah, blah. Psychopath says this. And essentially it comes down to like, you let me down. And then this kid just like stabs Arthur Fleck in the stomach a bunch. And then as he's falling on the ground, he gives his Joker cackle. And he's like, I'm the psychopath. And as has been confirmed by the internet and the director and Joaquin Phoenix, is yes, these two movies you watched were not Arthur Fleck. He was not the Joker. This other inmate that you see for the last 15 seconds of the movie is the Joker. It's not the Heath Ledger Joker either. It's not one of those. It's just like this.
Okay, good, because that was like the kind of things I've been seeing, like article images. Is to like they keep on putting Heath Ledger Joker up there. I'm like, you better not do what I think you're gonna do.
No. Yeah, that's just like a military like flat like haircut. So whatever.
Did the Batman movie that people liked all the way up until the last 30 minutes, where it shit the bed apparently with what's his face,
Robert Pattinson.
Did that have the Joker in it?
It was an end credits.
You mean this one? The latest Batman?
The Robert Pattinson one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had Billy Keegan or whatever, Irish kid from you watched Peaky Blinders? He was one of the guys in Peaky Blinders. Yeah.
Right on. Is that who this is then?
No. This is an independent story.
Continuity.
Yeah.
No, independent story. And that's what's so frustrating. You are an independent story. You're in your own independent world. And just to like stab the knife even further, you're like, this guy you just watched for 2 movies for 400 minutes, like, it's not the real one. It's like, what are we doing here? So it was, the performances were incredible, and it's so disappointing that you wasted two Oscar. I believe they both won Oscars now. Lady Gaga's won an Oscar, I believe.
Oh,
or maybe she only has it for music. She's been nominated twice. I know that.
Yeah.
And Joaquin Phoenix won
for the
Bradley Cooper movie.
Yeah. And Joaquin Phoenix won for Gladiator, right? So like you have 2 Oscar-nominated people that put on Oscar-nominated performances. Everything was wasted. It was terrible.
Well, it makes sense why there's that audio clip or that little video clip of Joaquin Phoenix being like, "That fucking sucked. What was that?"
Yeah.
Not good. So anyway, that was.
Yeah. So I won't go over any of the Monster Hunter stuff because we already talked about all that stuff. So there's that. Been playing Metaphor. I'm at the end of the 4th dungeon now.
Okay.
I don't know how many more I have left. The story seems like it's escalating.
What hour mark are you at, do you think? Ballparking.
I think Steam will just tell me, right? I'm pretty sure I'm at like 38 hours.
What do they say the game is? 60?
Anywhere between 80 to 100.
Is that story or completion?
That's I think 80 is what I hear about story. I think completion is
I'm
around
at
100, 120.
I'm at 42 hours.
So I've heard in other podcasts that there's a lot of times where it does the whole thing to where you think you're finishing, and then they're like, no, you're about halfway.
Yeah, I think the story is just escalating. I don't know where I'm at in it. I don't know. The date wise, I'm in August.
Okay.
And Mage continues to be broken because it makes it so that I can do everything in one shot, which is great because then I have 17 days to do bond stuff and other
Side
things, and
quests
it
and
just
side dungeons.
yeah,
But you're able to
it,
do what entire dungeon in one shot, so then you have all
yeah.
the days. Is that
Yeah.
only because of the way Mage is built?
Yes.
Yeah, so Mage, when you instant kill enemies that you're 3 levels higher than, it gives you 1 MP back for everybody. Now,
Usually killing 3 or 4 enemies at once in like a pack if they're that low level, yeah.
so then they'll give you like 3 or 4 at a time. Now here's the problem though, is that you think, well, that's not that much, and when you get up to higher levels, right, like you end up having 400 mana. Like I'm not going to sit there and grab. The thing is that every single time that you go in between floors, all these enemies respawn. And Alex, you and I have played JRPGs long enough, and we are not. We have the sickness that makes it so that we don't mind grinding and
You're
just
not opposed to, yeah.
right. And so, like, if the game is telling me, well, hey, if you sit here for 2 hours and run back and forth between these floors and instant kill all these enemies, and you get all your MP back, and then you can keep going without having to leave and rest for a day, that's what I'm gonna do. So
I can't
that's
do
what
that,
I do,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it makes it so that
you know my sickness. It's I'll do menial stuff forever.
yeah, easy peasy.
I
And so
I maxed out all 347
I'll tell you,
levels of Wukong just by
I
blowing shit up and
just toss a Game Grumps video to the side, and then I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
anyways, and I just keep going. I'm like
Yes.
way high level. It's perfect. The last boss of the 3rd dungeon that I did, so far every dungeon has like a different mechanic too. Like it's not just like hey, go in and
Make sure you have
fight
ice.
people.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, what I mean is like it's not. It's like the 3rd dungeon. There's only 3 pieces of combat. There's no combat otherwise.
Oh, okay.
Like
I
that's
know
what I
the
mean. Like every dungeon's
details of that
different.
dungeon, yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool. I
Yeah, it's very
appreciate
cool.
that.
Oh, they're different
Opposed to the
dungeons.
game-
Yeah, they're great.
Opposed to the game we played for this week's book club is a whole different story. So
Anyways, and so so like you go through that, but it's been great so far. The other game that I played, because that's really all I've played, was Metaphor and Monster Hunter. The only other game that I've played is a game that I played last night that, if I had played when it came out, would have instantly shot to probably my top of that year. I'd have to go back and look and see what came out that year. I'm not going to say anything else about this game other than the name and then like just a quick little thing, and that's it. Have either of you guys heard of the game Florence before?
Yeah.
Did you play it?
No.
Okay. It's $3 on the App Store. It takes 45 minutes to beat. I bawled my eyes out at the end of this game.
yeah,
Like,
no thanks.
not in an animal way, but it was just like and it wasn't like a bad way either. It was just a really like sad, well told, that has a nice happy ending like story, but like it was. I'll probably bring it up at Game of the Year just to be like one of the best like games that I played that didn't come out this year. It was incredible, and if you ever have some time to if you've got some time to kill and you're like, fuck it, I'll just go through it. Like I said, it's about 45 minutes to an hour, $3. I couldn't recommend it enough. The reason I remembered it was that somebody reminded me of, and Preston, you might remember this. It was a Giant Beast cast. They were doing the Game of the Year. This was the game that Vinny cried about on
Oh, really?
that year. Yeah, and it made its way on their list or whatever. But and I always meant to go back and check it out, but I just never did. And then I got reminded of it recently, and I went and did it, and it was just as emotionally impactful as they had made it sound. But yeah, so it was great. Florence is the name of that game if anybody wants to go check it out. Other than that, that is really all I've played.
Okay. Well, before we end it, I did want to put this in there. I'm going to be very quick about it because I know we've gone long on this episode. But I don't want to do this for even further into the month. But games that came out in November. We're just going to fire them off. Arrow the Acrobat, Rascal's Revenge, Farmagia, Tinkertown, Metal Slug Tactics, Mind Over Magnet.
Metal Slug Tactics.
People are going to be stoked about that one. Planet Coaster 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, PS5 Pro, actually came out today as we're recording. Battle Spirits Crossover, Chicken Police Into the Hive, Empire of Ants, Goat Simulator Remastered, Phantom Brave the Bermuda Triangle, River City Saga, Three Kingdoms Next, Mario and Luigi Brothership,
F this game too.
Spirit Mancer, Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Festival, Slitterhead.
Oh, that's a drum game, yeah.
Yeah. Slitterhead, Heistgeist, Songs of Conquest, Farming Simulator 25, Neo Harbor Rescue Squad, The Rise of the Golden Idol, Tetris Forever, Songs of Silence, Beyblade X X1, Debut Project Cooking Cafe, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, Lego Horizons Adventures, Little Big Planet Adventure, Switchen Quest, Minecraft.
Sure, you nailed that one.
I fucking bet I did. Petite Island. It's not petite. There's no e at the end of it. Petite Island. Who fucking cares?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that's petite.
Okay.
Yeah, petite doesn't have a T at the end of it.
E. Funko Fusion.
It's probably spelled the French way.
Fair.
Petite.
Petite. Goblin Slayer, Another Adventure Nightmare Fest. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. My Sims Cozy Bundle. Stray comes to the Switch. Touhou Spell Carnival. Genshin Impact comes to the Xbox console. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl comes out on Xbox and PC. Amber Isle. Amidama. Disney Music Parade Encore, On Your Tail, Critter Cafe, Neon Blood, Nine Souls comes out to all the consoles. That's including Switch, PS5, PS4, Xboxes. Let's just say Xboxes. Xbuy. Mado Monogatari, Fia and the Mystery School comes out. Rave Switch Watch, Rekey 8-Bit Game Collection, Snow Bros, Wonderland. I like saying Snow Bros. Taito Milestones 3, Uncle Chop Rocket Shop. Oh, that's a good name. I like that. It rolls off the tongue really well. And that's it for November. That's the games coming out in November.
I just say, all those games you listed off, man. Naming things is hard, people.
It is. It's really hard.
Holy shit.
You mean that like Dragon something 2D HD remake?
Dragon Quest. Yeah,
Dragon Quest 2
Oh,
and
was it
3.
Dragon Quest? Okay.
Yeah.
3. But yeah. Yeah, that's the names. But yeah, that's the games coming out this month. I forgot to do it last week. I know we're going long, but I didn't want to wait to do it for the next week after this because it would have been pretty much the end of November. So there are your games of November.
Nobody names games like Square Enix names games.
Yeah. That's
Specifically the Kingdom Hearts franchise, like nobody names games like
very
that.
special people.
So they are. So all right, cool. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, everybody, for our week. Don't forget to check in later this week as we tackle the first part of our viewer suggested video game book club. So this week is suggested Castlevania Lord of Shadow came out on the 360. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, so we're super excited to talk about that. More excited to talk about, maybe less excited to play. Jake, don't hate us, please.
Oh,
anyway,
you'll be fine, Jake.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, also, Jake, we'll see how Christian goes, but text me if you want to know what he was saying about it.
Oh,
So-
okay. Well, we'll talk about this
I'll
later.
say what I said. Don't worry.
Anyway, yeah, so check in with that later this week. We have a few parts of that game to play, and that'll take us to the end of the year. So, yeah, cool. With that, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.